Hello, pirates. Let's talk a little bit about how to build a Fury. A lot of people want it, a lot of people ranked it over this weekend, but I see a lot of questions popping up in the Forsaken Council page. So I thought I give a little bit of a tutorial how to build at least a vanilla Fury and then some options to spice it up a little bit. Let's start with the Naked Hull first. As you can see here, it has 90,000 armor points and only 30-minute repair time for that. So it makes it a very desirable spotter for your vendettas and whatnot because of its very low base repair time. It's also very strong against penetrative deflection, so goodbye executioners. It's strong against explosive. It's only pretty much the main weakness is ballistic. It has zero deflection against ballistic. Also not too strong against corrosive, and no concussive deflection to start with. It has a handicap of 100%, so don't waste your time putting resistance specials like MX3, MC3, nothing like that. Don't waste your time putting M or X or any of those armors because the bonuses will not apply. Some people are still struggling to understand that concept. Decent speed, we're going to increase that to the proper specials, and it has 100% scattergun reload. So of course, ideally, you're going to put scatterguns on this hull and nothing else. But we'll talk about that later. Once you get bloodthirsty, you gain some ballistic deflection. So now all of a sudden is not as weak as the Retribution or the Vendetta. You can actually survive a little bit more under cannon fire. It gains some concussive deflection, but still not enough to counter the minigun. And it gets even stronger corrosive deflection. So honestly, I don't think at that point the Draconian Scattergun or the Basilisk will still do some damage, but not a lot. So the main frontline turret against it would be the Blunderbuss, and that's your main concern as an attacker. Okay, there's a whole bunch of bonuses when it goes into overload, but it only goes into overload every 27,000 damage it takes. So it's gonna happen 4 or 5 times depending on what armor you put on it. You become faster and you reload faster, right? Almost doubles your reload. I mean, you add the 100% base reload bonus plus the overload 75% plus the rank 75%. You're gonna be spitting corrosive pellets almost as fast as your eyes can see. Probably you're gonna hit the minimum reload time barrier of 0.2 seconds. I don't think it can get any faster than that. So let's start with weapons. I mean, the basic, most obvious weapon to put on it is the new Conflagration Scattergun. So just to get started, I'm gonna put them in every single slot because I want to highlight one thing that's gonna change significantly when you do that. So, okay, if you do all scatterguns, you see you gain a little bit of armor, like from 90,000 to 93,500, but your repair time goes from 30 minutes to just over an hour. And I have all the bonuses and officers and whatnot, so maybe you're gonna see even more. Okay, so just keep in mind now your base repair time is over an hour. Of course, you need some speed, and then here you'd have two choices. I mean, most people would go with Speed System 5. It's the one I think makes more sense. If you really want a fast blitzer to just drive past guards and everything, you could consider Magnus Drive too. Then your turn speed is going to suck a little bit, but I don't think that would matter once you get the hull at maximum rank. Also, don't waste your time with hydraulic resistors because the only extra benefit here is the concussive defense, which will not apply to the Fury because of the 100% defense handicap. So don't waste that special here. Next up is the special that actually came with the combo. Where is it? The hydroxide injector here. So we've seen people doing the calculations. This one actually has a better effect than Barrel System 3. It still causes you to do more damage with the extra multi-shot and the extra corrosive damage. So now not only you have 100% reload, but you also have extra 25% damage, which is reflected here. So you see if I remove it, you're doing 19,000 damage. When you put it in, we're doing 23 and something. Okay, so far so good. So the next special is Siege Battery. And I know some people were considering the resonance capacitor, but that is mostly a waste of time because the Fury does not generate its own field. So you can't guarantee the resonance capacitor will be activated at any time unless you always keep it under a Vendetta field or something like that, which is not guaranteed, especially if you're going to have a fleet of all Furies to blitz. Don't use that special. It will not activate, there will be no field, and you're just wasting a special slot most of the time. So let's go with Siege Battery here. That's always working and gives you building damage and gives you turret defense. So that's your next one. So now we're talking a lot more damage on top of the 23,074 against buildings and walls. And by the way, the 23, you know, that's against ships. I mean, if you look at the building damage, there is double. And the wall damage is even higher. So you're applying that extra 74% on 4,440. And you're also applying against that 5,550. So walls should just melt really fast. So the next special now, most high-end bases, they have glacial turrets and some ships maybe with cryo batteries. So they create those cryo fields on the water. And to counter the cryo fields, you need shielded tactical systems. Agility system doesn't work because agility system counters effects, stun and slow effects that are hitting your ship, such as disruptor cannon that hits one ship. Anything that's a field and your ship is navigating through that field, it's not countered by agility systems. So you need shielded tactical systems. This guy here. Okay, so it's going to give you only 30% resistance, but still it's a big difference against a glacial turret field. Also gives you 50% slow resistance when applied to your ship. So it kind of works well at this point. Now the last special, there are many options we could use here. So the Fury doesn't have, it has a negative evade of minus 29, which is not too low. Like some of the other hulls are minus 160%. So even to get to 0 wouldn't be worth it. But the Fury actually works well. So one option, you could use the good old Guidance Scrambler 3 and get some evade. And then you put E-Armor here, we'll get to that later, and you actually get a fairly decent evade. Another option, because the scatterguns have splash, is to use either Explosive System 4, if you want to concentrate the fire and increase splash, or Combustion System 2, if you want to widen the spread and still gain a splash increase. So I'm gonna go for now, just see what happens when we put the Explosive System 4. So now you have minus 20% spread, and the base spread on this weapon is 40. So you're bringing it down now to 32. A lot more concentrated fire on one single target, right? Which means you're gonna poke a hole in a wall faster and hit a guard ship faster, but you kind of have to stop moving if you want to make that work. And you gain 62% splash on a base of 10, so now it goes to 16. Right? So even pallets that miss your target ship, there's a better likelihood they'll be doing splash damage. Okay, so that's one option. Guidance Scrambler is another option. Another popular option is to just get even more building damage. So you tear through walls even faster and you get turrets down even faster, but that's not going to help you against the guard ships, which in my mind are one of the biggest problems, right? So I'm leaning towards, at first, and I'm going to try that setup, okay? I don't have a lot of experience with that ship yet, but I've seen hits. And Guidance Scrambler for now, okay? And then you just add some D5E armor. if you want to maximize your evade. And this is also going to help against Vanquishers, because the Vanquisher projectiles of the Cyclone launcher, they're not super high accuracy. So by having 49% evade now, you can probably dodge most of them, or half of them, something like that. And most of their damage comes from hitting you, not from their shockwaves. And that's why I'm not going with the shockwave plates, although that was an option. The main problem here now with this setup is my repair time went from initial 30 minutes naked hull to 1 hour and 10 with weapons, and now I'm at 2 hours 38 minutes. Do I want that? I don't know. So maybe I could go D2E, just get some evade here. It's going to be a little bit less, so now instead of 49 it's 43%. But the repair time is down by a whole hour, 1 hour and 38 minutes. I kind of like that. Okay. So this is a vanilla setup. A few things to consider now are, well, some bases, they have a whole bunch, or not a whole bunch, they have like 2 protodons at the back firing missiles at you non-stop. And even with the high deflection here, they do minimum damage, and the minimum damage builds up over time because they're just firing dozens of missiles at you per second, right? And it can kill your ship pretty fast just by the sheer volume of volleys at you. So you could consider having a couple of switchblades. Let me find them here. Missiles. So the goodness about the switchblade is if you go and you attack a base where these unending volleys of missiles are coming at you, they're going to work as a good countermeasure, right? It's their primary mode, 54% accuracy. And they have a multi-shot of 2, but due to the special, they also get an extra multi-shot. So now they're going to have a multi-shot of 3. If you're against a base that has no missiles coming at you, then the switchblade is going to go into missile mode, and it does a decent damage, right? Most bases today don't have phalanx, don't have anything to shoot down missiles anymore because they haven't been used in a long time. So here's one idea. The other idea, I mean, maybe you want to get rid of the switchblades because they don't work for remote targeting. And you say, you know what, I want to put a Cyclone launcher here because I'm going to use this ship as a spotter for my Vendettas. Then you need something to trigger remote target, and then it's up to you. I mean, the scattergun will trigger from a range of 82, the Cyclone from a range of 94. You know, 94 is still going to be in range of Vanquisher, in range of the Gammas. Most guard ships will outrange you anyways. You know, so maybe your best idea here would be to go with something like a blade. Okay. And use some sort of range extender here. Right, like the counter missile extender. So you increase the effectiveness of the switchblade as in countermeasure mode, and you give range to the blade, so now you can spot from 98 instead of 82. That's a big range gain. Still won't outrange Vanquishers or Gammas, but gets a lot better. Again, I'm not saying that's an effective build, but these are alternatives to the vanilla one, right? So going back to the vanilla build here, if you want a fleet of 5 and you want to blitz and that's what you want to do, you're not going to be spotting for Vendettas or anything. So you may want to stick with something like this. And then still to be seen if GS3 is the best choice, if siege targeting is the best choice, or explosive system or combustion system. I'm really not sure about the 5th special here. I think it's going to depend on the base you're going up against. The good thing is this whole ship builds in 10 days. If you get some tokens from FM, you know, probably 8-7 days per ship. Okay, so you can have a fleet of 5 in just over a month. It's not really bad, or 2 months if you don't use any tokens. I hope you find this video useful for you, and if you're building Furies, you find these ideas good, and let me know on the comment section which build you're using and how effective they are. I've seen some crazy builds out there, and you know, as long as they're working for you, just be happy and enjoy. Happy pirating, everyone. See you next time.